Hi folks, this is Danny at Bradley James Classics, and today we are bringing you a two-stroke, very 1980s Kawasaki KE175. What an incredible find. Now this particular bike is owned by a fairly elderly gentleman now, to be fair, and he has owned this bike since it was a year old. So he's owned it since 1981. And the bike itself was registered in 1980. In fact, this iteration of the KE was only produced between 1980 and 1982. It's an absolutely cracking original condition. It doesn't need restoration or any major work whatsoever. It just really ought to be enjoyed as it is. And you can see the originality of the bike is super. It's got its, I can't see any add-on parts. It really is quite lovely. Now even the tyres have done less than 100 miles front and rear. Our intention is to, the most basic recommissioning here. We've just ordered a new petrol tap for it, so it will come to you as a running, riding, starting bike. The suspension on it is soft. The exhaust is in good order. For those of you who know these bikes, they always tended to get a bit rotten around the top of the exhaust here. I'm just going to hold it back for you so I can get up close. Now everything on it is honest. You would use some pot black to paint the cylinder. It certainly doesn't need to be stripped to be done. We've got a new battery for it. There's a bit of very light corrosion, surface corrosion across the top of that pipe, but it's wonderful because it's original. A little bit of a, if you remember these bikes, they always had a bit of movement here. 6-speed Unitrack single shock absorber. They weigh just over, I think about 105 kilos, these bikes, very light. I think they're 31 brake horsepower, if my memory serves me. And back in the day, you'd have had one of these, or you might have had an ER or a TS, depending if you was a Suzuki, Yamaha, Kawasaki guy. And I guess the Benelli would have competed with these. But yeah, it's just so lovely to have such a lovely bit of motorcycle history in, and it's a very usable classic motorcycle. It was a enduro bike of its era. They were popular bikes, well loved. And personally, now I'm going to be a bit biased because I own a Kawasaki Z1 that I've owned for 3 decades, remarkably. So I'm a bit of a Kawasaki man myself, but I actually think that this is rather special, very usable. It's both exempt from MOT and tax, so the cost of ownership on a little bike like this is pretty good. And being lightweight, it's the sort of thing that you could probably load up onto a little rack to fit on the back of your camper van, and off you go. You could have a lot of fun with one of these. Their off-road capabilities actually were pretty serious. They're always a great little bike. So anyway, this one is available. We haven't even done a video, and we've had just a couple of photographs out there, and we've had some great interest already. So I have the impression that this bike probably won't last too long. What's really nice about this is it has, I think, pretty much MOTs going back right to the days where they look like this. Let's show you. Where are we? Remember those old school exhausts and old school MOTs, I should say. There you go, 1996. Now, interestingly, in 1996, this bike had 11,028 miles, and in 2005, it had 11,700 miles. And if I walk over to the odometer, here we are in 2025, and it's got 12,139 miles. So it is super low mileage. very, very lightly used bike in all of those years. So I think it does make it rather special. It's in excellent condition. I mean, as I say, it could be totally stripped and rebuilt, but you really don't need to do that. You would only do that if you fancied a little project for the garage or the shed. Easy to work on these bikes. I'll get them really close and I'll show you what I mean. I mean, you'd probably find, you know, because it's actually quite nice to have some of this original paint on these bikes. And if I just sort of wet that, I think you'll find a lot of that will probably just clean up with a steam clean, but it's very easy to apply the high temperature paint and get that engine looking lovely. As I walk around it very slowly, on the bottom of this there's a bit of tape here, but I love it because it's this original saddle, and having only done 12,000 miles, it's still kind of got nice grip on it. I think I mentioned the new battery that we've got for it and a new fuel tap. They were the only things, having looked around the whole bike, that we actually had to buy. And I'm just going to get up close to have a look at this whole switch gear for those that you can remember. I think it's original key. See, that one looks like a copy key. There's a nice period little disc on there. Yeah, it's a cracking little bike, and I think it will bring you a lot of pleasure to have this sat around. Very usable, easy to ride actually, just being a little light 175. They go well due to them not being too heavy, and they look great. So anyway, a 1980 Kawasaki ZE175. Same owner who's had this bike since it was a year old. He's owned it since 1981, and some nice paperwork with all those MOTs going back years and years and years. And funnily enough, he actually saved all his logbooks, all the tax discs as well. So it comes with an impressive tax disc collection. It's lovely and original. It really is in excellent condition. I'm looking at that tank, I'm not seeing any dents, any scrapes. All the original transfers are still looking great. You often see aftermarket bits and pieces which are used on these bikes, which is a real shame because they're only original once. And if you can find a bike that's got all that original paint and it's got the transfers on, it hasn't been one of those transfer companies that have reproduced it, you can see that it's a clean bike. You can get close, you can see that the chain's been well maintained. I mean, it's always been fettled with and always used and run. It's just that since we've had the bike through our workshop, we've ordered a fuel tap and a battery, and that's literally all we need to do to this bike to get her up and running. Looking forward to taking her for a ride actually, which I'll be very careful to do. So I want to make sure it's in nice condition for the next owner. Anyway, this is Danny at Bradley James signing out. Thank you for watching today's video.